Welcome to Auction Version 4, the management software tool from Auction Systems. In this tutorial, I will show you the settings for items. To change or add settings for the item entry form, from the main Home task ribbon, choose Settings. On the Settings ribbon, choose Item Settings. This is the Item Settings panel screen with the panels closed. The setting areas for items are item name types, prices displayed on documents, item pricing, basket donors, sales tax, and buyer's premium. A summary of the information in the settings chosen for each panel appears on the right of the closed panel. To change any of the settings for a panel, click on the panel to open. There are 4 main item types in version 4, and the default names for these item types are live, silent, bidboard, and retail. If you're familiar with Auction version 3, you know what live and silent auctions are. Silent auctions classically have bid sheets, and bidders outbid each other by writing their bid number on the bid sheet. The highest bidder gets the item. Live items are usually auctioned off by raising your bid number in the air. An auctioneer keeps everyone in the room apprised of the highest bid so far, and the auctioneer cries going, going, gone, and sold. The highest bidder, when he says sold, gets the item. Some people prefer the word oral to live, and you can change that here. You may not be familiar with bidboard. The way a bidboard usually works is that you have some items displayed on a wall or on a board. These items may be a little more valuable than the silent items, but a little too unique to put in the live auction. Throughout the event, the current bid amount is displayed next to the item for all to see. Anyone who wants to outbid the current bid can do so by informing the attendant working at the bid board, and then their bid will replace the previous one. If you do not have a bid board but have some items that are a little more special than your silent and would like to track them separately, you can change the wording from bidboard to super silent, and even print bid sheets for these items. Some organizations do not have a bid board or a super silent, but maybe are having a casino games or other type of bidding. If you want to track those prizes and who got them, and or the sale of funny money or chips separately from your silent, live, or retail items, you can change the name of bidboard to casino games or games of chance or something like that. You don't have to use the bidboard item type at all, but if you do, this special item type is here for you. Retail items are the 4th item type. Retail items are items sold for a flat price, and your bidders will not outbid each other. For example, you may have a couple of cases of commemorative coffee mugs or Christmas ornaments. You're selling them for a flat price of $10 or $20 per mug or ornament. This is a retail item, and any bid sheet created for a retail item will have just the number of lines for the number of that item that can be sold, and instead of winning bid, the bid column will be price. You may also rename this item type, but no matter what you name it, bid sheets for items in this type will always have a price rather than a minimum bid. Pricing is displayed on documents allows you to set some defaults for how prices will show on documents such as bid sheets and invoices. You can either hide cents when equal to 0 or always show cents. When there is no donor value for an item, rather than 0 printing on the bid sheet or the catalog, the item will appear as priceless. You can change the word priceless to something else by clicking the plus sign and adding it to the pull down. Once the word or phrase is in the pull down, choose it, and that will be the default choice for 0 value items. By the way, even if an item has a donor value, if you think the item has much more value to your bidders than the real dollar value, you can choose to show the item on the bid sheet as priceless or whatever wording you added to the pull down on a case-by-case basis in the item entry form for that item. If you choose to show an item that actually has a donor value as priceless or what other wording you choose, the actual value of the item won't appear. That wording will appear. Finally, we have guaranteed bid. Guaranteed bid is like a buy it now option. You can set the default to always give an item a guaranteed bid, and then you must choose a percentage here. Usually that percentage is somewhere between 125 and 200% of the item value. Or you can choose the other default, which is to never automatically set a guaranteed bid for an item. No matter what you choose and what percentage you type in, you can override the default on a case-by-case basis for each item in its item entry form. Guaranteed bid appears at the bottom of a bid sheet. If your bidders don't understand what guaranteed bid means, you can change the wording as it appears on the bid sheets right here. For example, change the wording on your bid sheet to instant winner or buy it now, or make this item mine. In the item pricing panel, you can set the defaults for auction to calculate the minimum bid and minimum raise for each item for you by clicking Automatic. If you click Manual, you will have to set the minimum bid and minimum raise yourself for each item in its item entry form. Of course, you always have the option to override auction's automatic calculations for a specific item on a case-by-case basis. The default minimum bid is set at 40% of the donor value, but you can change the percentage if you'd like. Auction will always round to whole numbers. Like I said previously, retail items are items that are being sold for a flat price. By setting this percentage, auction will set the price of the item for you based on its item value. If you set the percentage at 100% of the item's value at an item that's valued at $10, it will set a price for $10. If you want to discount an item to 80% of its value, then the price of a $10 item would be $8. Or if you set this at 120% of its value, a $10 item will be sold for $12. Lastly, you can set the number of lines on a bid sheet to reach full value. The number of lines controls the minimum raise calculation. The default is set for 8 lines. Auction will take the donor value minus the minimum bid and divide by the number of lines set here. This number of lines is not an absolute, and auction won't make the range some strange amount with cents. It will be a whole number. The full value won't necessarily fall exactly on the 9th line, but that amount will be reached somewhere between line 8 and 9. The bid lines will usually not stop when 100% of value is reached. If the size of the paper you're printing the bid sheet on is sufficient, you will have more lines after 100% of the value is reached. And of course, even if you set a default, you are able to override the default for specific items on a case-by-case basis. Baskets in auction may not be a physical basket. Baskets in auction are a collection of individual items donated by different donors that are being sold as a single silent live retail or bidboard item. When the basket is assembled in auction, the donors appear in some order on the bid sheet and in the catalog. In settings, you have 2 choices of how you want the order of donors on the documents. They can appear in alphabetical order, or they can appear in descending order by the donor value of their particular contribution to the basket. If a donor is anonymous, the default is to exclude them from the listing, but you can change that to even include the word anonymous. Most organizations do not need to charge sales tax, but some states and taxing authorities do require sales tax to be collected. Always check with your state's Department of Revenue to find out if you're required to charge sales tax and to find out the rules. The default sales tax setting is to apply sales tax to the entire purchase price, but you may be allowed to charge sales tax on the lower of either the donor value or the purchase price. In some areas, gift certificates are not subject to sales tax, and gift certificates may be included in baskets that also include tangible items that are subject to sales tax. The default choice is to have auction calculate what percentage of the donor value of the assembled basket that includes only tangible items and charge sales tax on that percentage of the purchase price or donor value, depending on what choice you picked above. You can also choose to make baskets fully taxable on everything, including non-tangible items. And you can set the tax rate for multiple taxing authorities. For example, the state may have a sales tax rate of a certain percentage, but you also may need to collect sales tax to pay to the county and to the city. You can name and set the rate for up to 3 taxing authorities. Lastly, we have buyer's premium. Some organizations charge everyone who purchases an item a little extra based on what they paid for the item. For example, you may charge each of your bidders an extra 4 to 10% of the purchase price. That amount is called a buyer's premium. So, if a guest purchases an item for $100 and you've set the buyer's premium as 5%, on that guest invoice they will see the purchase price for the item of $100 and a buyer's premium for that item of $5. So their total cost and balance due for the item will be $105. If you want to charge a buyer's premium for some items, but not all, or make the buyer's premium percentage different for different types of items, you'll be able to do so on a case-by-case basis in the item data entry form for the specific item. This concludes item settings. Thank you for joining us.